Hi folks, Kevin here. Well, it's February 23rd, 2018, and today this video I'm creating to try and encourage some participation in what questions you may have about moving forward with adding solar energy to your systems, to your homes, to your future and all. What sort of questions you have. The reason that there's two reasons why I'm bringing that topic up today. The first reason is when I go back and I look at the videos that seem to get the most hits, the most views over time, two of the videos that, I have to look at the screen here, the two of the videos that get a large number of views are to do with solar systems. Now I've created several videos on it, on solar energy, and this is photovoltaic, using the solar energy from the sun, the photons, and converting it to DC in a solar panel, and then either in a microinverter or in an inverter convert it to AC electricity. So the first, I did a video on installing the system and doing it step by step, and that was in 2012. And Skyline Solar, Bill Edwards from Skyline Solar is the person who installed the system. And we have subsequently upgraded the system since then and added more panels, added more capacity. And at the time that we did more capacity, Bill agreed to answer some questions for me. So I wrote down some questions for him. He went ahead and we shot a video, and that video is called Skyline Solar, How Much Does a Photovoltaic System Cost? So that was a couple of years ago. And then last year I posted another video, how to size solar panel systems. So how to size a solar panel system, solar power calculation formula, how many solar panels do I need? And both of those videos will be linked up there in the upper right hand corner. And as many of you know, we're permaculturists, so we're really embraced in the ethics of permaculture. People care, earth care. Most people would say return of surplus, or a fair share is another name for it. But I believe in earth care, people care, future care, and self-care. And I specifically separate out self-care because I think we need to take complete responsibility for our own health and well-being, and that's how we're able to do so much more in life. The longer we live and the healthier we are, the more productive we can be. And productivity really is an important element. This day and age in the United States, we're trained to be consumers and not producers. So I think that that's something that we're trying to demonstrate here for other people, to realize that we have the power to decrease our consumption, to decrease our dependence on other resources, to increase our ability to remain more resistant to damaging elements, to create a regenerative possibilities, and have the resilience where we can bounce back after an event that causes harm to any of our systems that support us. So those videos that I posted in the past, I also posted a video back in 2012, a series of photos, and I'll try to to add some of those photos while I'm talking right now, so you don't have to look at my face. You can actually look at some of the photographs that we did over time, and there may be enough time to stick a little bit of a drone footage of the solar panels as well above. So I'd like everyone to go back and watch both of those videos, those who are interested in finding out more about solar energy. It's a little bit different than what we've done in the past is focus on active solar panels. So taking the sun's energy, turning it into electricity, and then using that electricity. So it's really important. The first step, I believe, is decreasing our dependence and decreasing our consumption. So it's turning lights off, switching to LED lights if we can, decreasing heat loss, insulating our buildings and all. So I did post a video called "What Makes a Great Designer," and I think I gave another title on the thumbnail, like 10 characteristics of great designers, something like that. And during that presentation, I talked about the average heating and cooling system. So I used our house as an example, or our chicken coop and work area. So when I was building the chicken coop and work area, I insulated on the outside of the studs. And you can watch those videos, and there's plenty of videos on when we built the chicken coop and work area that's attached to the greenhouse that hopefully will start going up this summer. But anyways, what I wanted to demonstrate in that show was how much money we could save. So just by insulating, not in between the studs of a conventional structure, but we insulate on the outside of the studs and then put our structural sheathing on the outside of that layer. Just by increasing that, changing the way that we're applying insulation would save this house, because we built this house about 35 years ago. It saves about $587.62 per year, which is $20,566 over 35 years. And that's a large sum of money. But more impressive than that is we built a passive solar home when we built this place 35 years ago. Fortunately, my brother's an engineer. He took the things that we wanted to incorporate in our design, and he plugged those elements into his energy efficient design in this passive solar home. That's an open envelope, post and beam structure that has a large thermal mass in it, and it's basically heated by a fan that takes the heat from the ceiling down through the chimneys. And there's videos that I've created on this whole system. But when you look at that, we're saving, if you look at what the average heating and cooling costs are, and this is what kind of surprised me last month when I made this video, the average heating and cooling costs, according to a Manta group, Manta.com, it's $6,262 per year for heating and cooling a house in central New York where we live. If you take that and multiply it by 35 years, because we don't spend anything on heating and cooling, that saves us over $219,000. So the point that I want to make is when we go about making decisions about long-term potential benefits, it's really dependent on the context of the situation. So the potential rewards, the return on our investment is pretty darn high. And the reason that I mention return on investment is because when people come on our site, they look around and they see, the first thing that they often notice are the statues as they come down the driveway. Then they notice all of the food around, all of the crops and all of the gardens and all that. Then they start noticing all the water features. And then when they get out back, they notice all those solar panels. And the first question that most people ask once they get there is, what's your return on investment? And that's one of the reasons why I asked Bill back a couple of years ago to help make that video, Skyline Solar, how much does a photovoltaic system cost? And that's the reason why last year I also made the video, how to size your solar panel system. Those are really important elements, but it all starts off with us being aware of what we're consuming and what we're using that isn't necessary. What are our needs versus what are our wishes? So one thing is going around and taking note of everything that's on when it doesn't need to be on. You've heard of vampire systems where a TV is still using energy when it's plugged in. You've heard of how much more energy efficient LED lights are than compact fluorescents or fluorescent or incandescents. So there's so many ways that we can just decrease our footprint by cutting back on things. And living within our means while meeting our needs. So I'm not going to go into that stuff too much right now, but there's so many different ways that it's really, really beneficial. So the sort of thing that I'd like to do, I'd like to encourage you to do, is to think about what are those things that keep you from moving forward as far as investing in renewable energy sources, whether it's wind power where you're located, whether it's geothermal, or whether it's solar panel. So some additional things that I'm thinking about asking Bill are, let's talk about the incentives. And I don't know what the incentives are around the world, but in New York State, when I had our system installed, we had a 30% credit on our income tax as a result of the installation of a solar panel system. And nowadays I believe that it's still 30% through 2019. However, in 2020 it's going to be down to 26%, and in 2021 it's going to be down to 22%, and it's going to gradually step down from there and then ultimately disappear. And there may be state or municipal credits as well. And please comment wherever you are in the world. I know this YouTube channel has reached people in the Netherlands, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, India, Norway, the Ukraine, not in the Ukraine. I can't think of where else right now, but so many people have contributed with comments and questions on this channel. I'm really interested in seeing, well, what sort of incentives are there? Is it because of climate that you're not doing it? Is it because there's rules and regulations in your municipalities, your townships, that keep you from going with solar? Is it that you just need more information, or you're waiting until the costs come down lower? Another question is, what about the utility companies? How are they handling solar producers? Because when you install a system, you're a solar producer, and if you're grid tied, how are they going to apply the credits? Are they going to give you wholesale, or are they going to give you retail credits for the excess power you produce during the daytime? Are you going to be locked into a plan once you go on, even though as some utilities will change their plans over time to make it less advantageous for people who are producing solar energy for the grid? So how will the bills be managed? How will they be changed? Certainly if you're in the US, many people will be on gas and electric at the same time, and that may change. You may have a separate gas and electric bill, and then your electric bill may be a tiered charge system, where if you're using more at 8 p.m. when the sun is set, you're paying more for that power than what you're producing during the daytime. And that really helps us to understand what are the benefits and what are the drawbacks to installing a solar panel system, or wind generation system for that matter, and what are the base charges as well. So those are some of the things that I thought about that I want to ask Bill about, but I really be interested in what concerns, what questions you have, so that when we have Bill over and we talk about some of these comments and questions that we're going to be getting, we can provide you with more information as well. We won't be able to tell you about specific locations outside of New York State, but we can certainly share those bits of information that you share with us. And in future videos, we could talk about solar thermal for heating hot water systems and all. And a whole variety of things that we can talk about as far as energy production. Excuse me. So I think that covers how I wanted to introduce this topic of soliciting information from you folks and seeing what else you might want to learn about with respect to what's keeping you from going solar or going with wind generation. I'm really interested in that. I want to see more of us being producers, if at all possible. Certainly there are leasing options as well. We went and bought ours full out, but in the future I see us going with a hybrid. We'll have battery backup systems, and probably be doing a hybrid system, and we may be installing wind generation as well. I plan on installing a DC powered well pump system so that we can pump water from the lower part of our property up to upper levels as well. So please leave some comments asking questions about what sort of questions you'd like us to ask Bill in this next coming video, and if there's enough questions, well, maybe we'll do a couple of video responses as well. Well, I'm real happy that Bill agreed to at least entertain the idea of creating a video soon. Hopefully, if there's enough comments and questions, we can create a video that you can all benefit from. I always enjoy learning about what possibilities there are, and he may have some insights as to what's coming down the pike as far as technology, things that I'm not aware of yet as well. So if you like this, please give it a thumbs up, share at will, so that we can get as much input as possible on this topic. And by all means, have a fantastic day, folks. Bye-bye now.